Breaking news.
Drama! Yes, drama when it comes to Manchester United.
It's all kicking off.
Man United won't break the bank for him. And if Man United won't break the bank for him, they've got other targets.
It's the second game of the season, and already the uncomfortable conversations need to be had. Conversations that many have been having for a while about Ruben Amorim, about Man United, and conversations that maybe some have been dreading. Me, I'm not afraid of having those conversations as long as they're balanced, as long as they look proportionate, and as long as they don't swing too far left or right for me. But I think it's definitely time, and it has been time, to look at what's going on at Man United, exactly why we're in the position that we're in, and really having a discussion about Ruben Amorim and his style and his tactics and his, more importantly, his decisions that he makes, that he has to stand by. Bruno Fernandes, just as predicted, 2 games in, is the biggest scapegoat, is the biggest problem, according to many. And I don't believe that Bruno's gone from our best player to now all of a sudden he's the biggest problem. There has to be something to talk about there, and we will. And again, the manager's decision. Our manager's decided to tell us that Kobbie Mainoo is competing for a place with Bruno Fernandes when Bruno Fernandes is not even playing in his rightful position, and chooses Ugarte over him and Mason Mount over him as well. So it's all very, very confusing right now and looking like it's not going to get much better. I'll be real. There are positives here and there, but we have to talk about it. We have to talk about this, man. Smash a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. It's already started. It's already started. The toxicity, the negativity, the realism, actually, because I'm not just going to call it, my head's not under the sand, sort of acting like nothing's wrong and people are going extra, but you're getting really far that way and you're getting really staunch defense this way. And this is exactly what I thought would happen, especially when it comes to Bruno. I knew this would happen. Guys, you could pull up any of the videos across the summer. I've said it so many times. Our manager deciding to do this with Bruno Fernandes now adds in another grenade on top of more games than points, on top of no back-to-back wins since he's been here, on top of still can't score, on top of a continuation of last season. It's not just 2 games of this season. Mbeumo, again, you looked at him yesterday. He's not getting the ball. He's not really making things happen. And it looked like Cunha's the new Bruno. If he don't do anything, then what are we going to do? That's what it looked like. And we're heading down a slippery slope after the second game mode.
Yeah, it was, to be honest, I mean, I was reflecting on it yesterday. I was obviously did the match view at KG. And I said, and I still feel like this, if anything, I feel even more staunchly like this, several hours now removed from it, that it felt like a loss yesterday. And KG was like, no, it doesn't feel like a loss. And to me, it does, because I really don't see the difference between a draw and a defeat yesterday. I know you can say, well, there's a points difference, but we're splitting hairs there. I'm not going to lie. I'm really disappointed. I myself, and I can only speak for myself, have to keep the same energy. I said going into that game yesterday that Ruben Amorim had to win, and he didn't. And he's now under massive pressure. Now, despite the performance, the result rather, against Arsenal, I felt there was enough in that performance to suggest, well, there are changes here and there are improvements, new players coming in. But yesterday, let's not lie here, it was the same old story. Nothing's changed. Let's be totally honest with ourselves here. And you know what's even more frustrating as well is we're doing the same hypothetical stuff all over again. The last 12 to 18 months, how many hypotheticals have we done? If Dalot had scored, Ten Hag wouldn't be sacked. If Onana didn't make those mistakes, we wouldn't have been eliminated from the Champions League. Yesterday, it's, well, if Bruno had scored the penalty or Cunha had scored his one-on-one, then we would have won the game and it would have been a different game. And I don't know about you, but I'm tired of the ifs. We are still hypothetical FC. We focus on the alternative timelines where something did happen when the reality is it didn't. We didn't win the game. We've got to focus on the reality. The reality is that Ruben Amorim has won 7 out of his 29 games in the Premier League. Just for comparison, that's the same win percentage as Neil Warnock during his time in the Prem. If you want to compare it to who he played in the Europa League final last summer, right, or at the end of last season, you had two teams that were so shit in the league. One finished 15th, one finished 17th. The one that finished 17th won the trophy. They got rid of their manager because they said, you know what? I don't care that we won the trophy. It's not good enough. We need to find someone to fix this and get more out of the players that we've got at our disposal. We'll do some signings in the summer, but we can still be better than 17th. Thomas Frank has gone in now, and he's already done something that Ruben Amorim hasn't done, which is won back-to-back Premier League games. And it's not like, oh, they've had easy opponents. They beat Man City on their own patch at the weekend. And this is the new and improved Manchester City as well. All right, Thomas Frank's already done that because even he was like, you know what? The Spurs might not be that good, but they're better than 17th. And they are, in the same way that we are better than 15th. Those players are better than 15th. We can all say, they're criminals, but they are better than 15th. And it's the tale of two managers, tale of two coaches there. One changed and one didn't. And look what's happened. As I mentioned, already back-to-back Premier League wins for him. Ruben Amorim, he hasn't been able to do that. So for me, I look at this and I say, Ruben Amorim, the next two games, one's against Grimsby. We're going into a game where we're saying we've got to get our first win of the season against Grimsby. He has to win that, obviously. And then that next game against Burnley, a newly promoted side at home, he has to win. If he doesn't win those two, then I think he's probably done because there's no coming back from that.
If you lose against Grimsby, that even
and even if you do win that, but you don't win in the league against a newly promoted side at home, so it's over. So the pressure's on, and you can say, like you said, we can get into the staunch defense of us too early. I can't believe fans fickle, blah blah blah. This isn't just 2 games. It's not. This has been since November. And I see Wayne Rooney this morning saying on BBC that, he's got no excuses. And he doesn't. Like there are no excuses. There aren't.
And we've said, I said it's like, because the record was so crap last year, it should be really easy to show marginal improvement to just keep everyone on board. That should be, if you are a decent enough manager with some support in a transfer window, you should be able to show that last season's at least a blip. That doesn't mean that you're definitely going to be the right guy. It doesn't mean that you're going to win great things, etc., etc. But there just should be something that you look at and say, listen, man, we're going to go in the right direction. Now, look, it is the only thing I'm going to give a bit of, other side. This isn't just a Ruben bashing session, like where, you're just going in on the manager without any pushback on the other side. We're going to talk about it properly. Because that's my thing, is that when we talk about these types of things, it's all one way or it's all that way. And that annoys me. I think we have to talk about it properly. And you're right. It isn't just a couple of games of this season. I don't think you can say that. You've seen enough last season to suggest that you need to pivot from that immediately. And when you're seeing, like you say, Thomas Frank come in and he's adapted his system. He's taking it game by game. He's asking for different things from his players, depending on who they're playing against. And the players are buying in. And you know what else as well? I'm more now, on top of the problems that were already there, I'm looking more at the decisions of the squad building. And like I said, I can't get past this thing. Forget Kobbie Mainoo for a second. You've taken our best player, right, who needs to be playing closest to the goal in Bruno Fernandes. And some people don't even think he's our best player and haven't liked him for ages. Okay, that's fine. I'm just going to speak from my opinion. Our best player, and now he's almost the biggest scapegoat, half rightly so, because, listen, what he did yesterday was absolutely shocking. Complaining after the thing about the referee bumping into him and then coming out publicly and saying that. Bruno, I always back you. What are you doing? What are you doing? That is just awful. Then his actual performance, there was a point where he stopped the ball dead and was pointing where he should pass it. I think Muniz just nicks in and takes the ball from him. There's the goal that we conceded. Dalot, yes, I'll get there, etc., etc. But not going with Urana. Smith Rowe, he starts in front of Smith Rowe. Smith Rowe is not the quickest, if you've ever seen him play football. Takes a casual trot in a straight line, completely runs past Bruno. Why? Because Bruno should not be playing in a 2-man midfield as a 6. He's not disciplined enough to do that job. He's not, especially with the partners that we have.
I think with the Bruno stuff, to be fair, I mean, like you said, I know the whole thing about, he will be the, scapegoat and what have you. But I thought yesterday, it was entirely justified, with Bruno. People have been, because, that yesterday was for me the antithesis of a captain's performance. Him coming out of, the ref bumped me or whatever. Mate, who gives a shit if the ref bumped into you? Score the penalty. And then after that, he lost his head for the rest of the game. Like you said, he's pointing and moaning and then losing the ball. And then at different points, he was doing the thing where he then started going down for a bit and rolling around because he's now annoyed and getting angry and giving the ball away or what have you. And what really alarmed me was after the game when Amorim was talking about that and Cobby, he was effectively saying, well, Cobby's competing with Bruno, so that's why he's not going to get on the pitch.
Biggest red flag ever.
Because Bruno's undroppable. And that's when you go,
Cobby may as well go now. There's a week left.
I mentioned this several weeks ago because he mentioned it, and he explained why he liked Bruno playing in like the 8 or the 6, whatever you want to call it. And he basically said, I like Bruno there because if he plays in the 10, he's all over the place. He's all over the pitch, and he maybe lacks the discipline to do that. And like you said, for me at the time, I was like, that's an even bigger red flag. That's the same reason that I've said for years that I don't think Bruno can play as an 8 because I don't think he's disciplined enough to play as an 8. So Ruben's going, I don't think he's disciplined enough to play as a 10 because he's all over the pitch. That's the exact same reason we're saying he can't play as an 8 because he's all over the place and he doesn't lack the discipline to all right, now's not the time to do crazy passes, or now's not the time to be trying to force stuff. Now's not the time to be doing that. So I was like, well, that's an even bigger red flag. And if we're now working with this idea that because he's Bruno Fernandes, because he's the captain, even if he's stinking out the joint, he can't be taken off. But then what are we doing? Like what we doing?
Oh, we're back to where we was. We're back to where we was.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not, and that's not saying, that you're saying get rid of Bruno, should have cashed in 100 million. It's just saying that if we're going down the route of regardless of how badly he's going to play, he can't come off. That's what we said the problem was under Eric, wasn't it? Of, well, he's never going to come off because he can create something out of nothing. And yesterday he stunk up the joint. And then also after that, as great as his leadership qualities can be, yesterday was not a display of leadership from him. It just wasn't. It just wasn't.
It's literally what Common Pence says there. Mainu is fighting for a place where a 10 is playing who can't play the centre mid role. Like, it's actually that. Like, I tweeted it yesterday. I goes, hold on a minute. Bruno, the manager's saying that Cobby is competing with a place with Bruno, and Bruno's not even playing in his proper position, and is not a central midfielder. And Mainu, listen, and won't get dropped. And also, you can argue that Mainu in this system also doesn't work. Well, then you know what? If that's the case, then you may as well just sell Bruno. If you're trying to play him like this, he's gonna be null and void in this system. And listen, I don't do the blinkers thing. People will disagree on Bruno loads. I'm a staunch defender of Bruno because I do think he's a very good player, but not in this position. And that comes with caveats. Even when he's in his favoured positions, you're always going to get Bruno-isms. He's been playing here, 5 years now, going on 6. We know Bruno inside out. We know what he's going to do versus what he's not going to do. What you definitely can't do is be naive enough to think that in this system, in this league, you can take Bruno Fernandes from the 10 position where he's most effective and put him on an island in a 2-man midfield. Because then when the Bruno-isms happen, they're even more extenuated. So I'm not ridding Bruno of this responsibility because he's not. That was shocking from him yesterday. Like, that's not even the manager's thing. That's Bruno. You're a top-level pro. How is he running past you? That's on you. But also, he ain't going to be able to play in that position. So guess what? Sell it. You don't like Ugarte, who's your old guy. Casemiro, you're playing more and more often. You don't like Cobby. You've told us that Mason Mount now can play back in there just because he can run. What does that look like? What's Mason Mount going to do in there? What's Mason Mount going to do in central midfield? All right, he can run around. That's it. He's got a decent football brain. Not in a 6 or 8, whatever the hell we're calling them these days. Not there. So you don't like Cobby. So what? So also for Cobby, we're trying to spend 100 something on Baleba. We're not getting him, but we want Wharton. Cobby's toast. Cobby's toast in this system right now under this manager. He's done. And I'll say that now. I know people say it's early and this, that, and the other. This is what I say about the warning signs. He ain't going to get on that plane to England. He ain't going to get enough game time. Cobby wouldn't blame him if he wanted a loan now. What's the point? You just managers just told you you're competing with a captain who's undroppable. He may as well just leave.
And this is the other part of it. This is when you go back to the so much focus on one way of playing. That's it. If you did have a coach like a Thomas Frank or what have you, would look at that yesterday and go, didn't really work. We'll change the system in the next game, and then Kobe might get in, or someone else might get in, someone else come out. Like, it would be a lot more fluid when we know exactly what the formation's going to be, the system's going to be for the next game. We're already starting to do this. Well, that means he's not going to play. That means he probably can't play, or that means this person has to play because we don't actually have anyone else in that position. And even like yesterday, once again, I mean, to be fair to you, Flex, you called it.
I was
in the
just about to say, what did I say?
Which Sheshko wouldn't start, but then 20 minutes in, and we're like, oh, we had like chances, maybe we could have scored. But again, if hypothetical FC, we didn't, and then as the game drifts on, we go, oh, we're really lacking that focal point of having a striker to sort of play off. And then and I feel bad a bit for Benjamin Šeško, in all honesty, because when he comes on, didn't have that much to do. But guess what? Because we've played more football playing without a striker than we've played with one. So the players suddenly they stop putting crosses in the box when he's not there. And it's like, well, he can't get into the game, can he? Because we're not playing to a striker.
And I just know how Ruben thinks. I knew he would look at the front three against Arsenal and say, I like what they did.
It was actually all right, though. It was actually all right.
It was actually all right. And actually, the first 15, 20 minutes, that is how they started. Some nice time. Yeah. You're thinking, you know what? We should be 2 up. This is the other side of it. I know we don't want to do too much of ifs because it's true. It didn't happen. But if you're trying to change something, you do have to look at the build up and process to a certain point. And you go, all right, we played well for 15, 20 minutes. Now, in the grand scheme of things, I didn't let that cloud my judgment of what I really saw. But we can all still say, because it happened, in the first 15 to 20 minutes, we looked good. I actually sat there and went, you know what? I'll tell you what, it is proven that maybe it wasn't just a front against Arsenal. Yeah. Or the only thing missing is just we can't score. And then actually you even go, sometimes this happens, In the first 2 games, we've made enough chances to score legit goals, but the actual goal we score is the shittest goal ever. Where, Yoro heads it off target, hits off the back of my knees and goes in. But then you think, you know what? Maybe that's just one of the ones you need to just go in, and then you can start from there. But guess what? It was the catalyst for the team reverting back to type. Had no control of the game. And Marco Silva, I want to read out a quote. This is what Marco Silva said, and Iwobi said it in his press post match as well, along the lines. This is what Marco Silva says: "We knew how they defend, and we know, they like to squeeze from the back 5. And if you don't give bodies for them to squeeze from the back 5, you can create superiority in the middle. We know they play with 2 in the middle. We tried to overload with our 3 plus Alex. It was as simple as that." Does that not sound like the third game of Amorim last season? Was it, or whatever it was, when Slot just dissected?
Ten Hag. Yeah.
Was that Ten Hag? Sorry. Right. Okay. Fair enough. It weren't Amorim.
Basically said he's like the gaps where the midfield we could just overrun them. It's easy.
Yeah. So that is something that is still there with extra protection of 3 centre halves. And on these 3 centre halves, it's another thing, right? Fair enough, that was Slot against Ten Hag, but basically my point is nothing's changed. Also, I'm going to be deadly honest. I'm just sick of seeing all these defenders on the pitch. Like, in my life, you want to get behind the system and wait. I'm just going to keep it a buck with you guys. I can't stop. I'm just looking at it and I'm like, every time we got the ball at the top end of the pitch, there just ain't enough red shirts, or white shirts, or black shirts, whatever we're playing in. There ain't enough Man United shirts going forward. And I look and I just see, like we always say, the U-shaped thing of just 3 centre-backs, a left back in Dorgu, essentially, left wing back, and Ahmad being converted into the right wing back, but deeper, except it's crap. It's crap.
And do you know what it should be? It should be a situation where Flex, yeah. So when he's saying, when Marco Silva's saying that, and he's going, oh, you'd pin the wing backs back, and then you make sure you're protecting that. Then most other managers during the match would go, all right, okay, they've kind of sussed that out.
Exactly.
Let's switch to a back 4, or let's go to 4-4-2, or let's go to something different because they figured this out. So let's change and give them something a little bit different. But we won't do that. We won't do that because that's not what Ruben does.
No.
So then we're just, if they figure this out, then they figure this out, and that's it. And it's like, okay, game over. And look at, like you said, the chances we missed yesterday are if they'd have gone in, what have you. But the last 2 goals we have scored, if you include our preseason fixtures, have both been own goals. They were own goals from set pieces. There's an own goal against Fiorentina where it was a ball bundled in the back of the net from a corner. And it was the same against Fulham yesterday. So regardless of how good or bad the build-up play is and it's creating chances and people aren't just finishing it, it's still, whatever way you slice it, not good enough to get the ball in the back of the net. And we signed a striker that we didn't start. That again, because and that's why I did agree with you when you were sort of saying it in the match preview of like I can see him looking at the Arsenal game going, but yeah, the build-up play was good, so yeah, that'll be good enough against Fulham. But it's not. The ball's not going in the back of the net, and we're still not winning games. And even if yesterday, if it ended 1-1 and the performance was good, then you still would have gone, look, it was one of those days, but actually performance was still good. But the performance wasn't good yesterday. It was good for 20 minutes. And we've done good 20 minutes football under Erik ten Hag, under Ruben Amorim for best part of 2 years. That's why yesterday was such a gut punch, because it was just a firm slap in the face of reality of just like, oh, you thought stuff had changed. That's not changed.
And that's where the people are right. That's where, listen, big up Bradley, big up to everyone else that was saying, this Arsenal thing, it's not this, it's that. You have to say they were right. Oh, my hands up. Oh, my hands up. My point was that we did actually play well against Arsenal. That was my only pushback. I was saying, don't do that. Let's not say we didn't just play well in there. I also said it doesn't mean we're going to go to Fulham and beat them. It doesn't mean that everything's fixed. And if we go to Fulham and don't win, it would prove that this was a false dawn. But let's not say that they didn't play good just now.
If we go to Fulham and we don't play well or win, it counts for nothing. Guess what? It counted for nothing.
Exactly. And I think that was the confusion of people. I saw someone tag me, you say sorry to Bradley right now. You do this. No, my point was that we played well against Arsenal. Like we did. We played but for actually the duration of the game, to the point where we looked at that and went, and I say I speak for me. I looked at that and said, I saw a good performance there. The better team lost today. One goalkeeping error. If we play like that more often than not, we'll win games. But guess what? We went to Fulham and didn't play like that. For what we did for 10 minutes. So I'm not going to apologize for like saying we played well against Arsenal. That's not wrong to say we played against Arsenal. Where the misconception is, or maybe lies, which again I wasn't completely sold on, was the fact that we're going to be okay because of that Arsenal performance. We'll be fine against Fulham. We'll be fine against Burnley. We'll be fine against all the other teams because we'll play like that. So I think for me, that's what I'll sort of look at and say, yeah, you know what, fair play. Like, the wrap up says you have to realize as well, Arsenal relinquished control by design as well. Flex again. Look, I'm not going to get back and forth. Fair play if that's how you see it. Maybe they did a little bit, but I do think we made them as well. Listen, the Arsenal games happen. I'm not even going to let's just agree. We all agree that we're hearing shit. So actually, the Arsenal game, I'm fed up with talking about it, to be fair. But big up to you, Wrap Up Heaven. That probably could have been by design. But for me, I think, and I even said in that same thing with Bradley, I said, it doesn't mean we're going to go to Fulham and win. It doesn't mean this. It doesn't mean that. But we did just play well. However, what we can see now is overall, which people could see a long time ago, etc., etc. But I just don't get the decisions made. The decisions made aren't good enough. They're not helping the team. We're not improving. You've given him a new front line. So like Wayne Rooney says and others says, there are no excuses. What's he got? 7 wins?
It's 7 in 24. Like I said, same win.
7 wins.
Neil Warnock. He's already lost more games than he lost when he was throughout the entirety of his time in Portugal. It's it's mad.
Yeah, there's loads of super chats and members chats here. Let's get through them. Maka says Ruben Amorim ain't good enough. He's made nothing better, making all our players worse, not playing them in their positions. Look at Thomas Frank at Spurs, instant impact. And Dennis G says Bruno is a waste of space. We cannot progress. Ray Carl Brown, pick up to you, bro, says same old issues, boys. New forward line and still can't score goals. Thomas John says the most flip-flop fan base. 1 week, all hunky-dory, and next week, Amorim out. Sell Bruno and get a quality 6 and a goalkeeper. You will do good. Big up to Grace. Grace says he's not he is not being scapegoated. He won't work in this system. It exposes him too much. Well, there you go. That's what I mean. He shouldn't be playing where he's playing. And we are in danger of having the Pogba chat again, where we say we need a player A or change system to unlock this player. I don't know, man. I think if you take someone out of their strongest position and put them where they're not good, and now they perform even worse, that's on the manager. The manager is doing that.
But I think it goes in the word scapegoat, because scapegoat gives the idea that he's being blamed for all of it when it's not his fault entirely. If you're being made a scapegoat for something, that's like you're being unfairly blamed. Now, Bruno Fernandes can be unfairly blamed when he's playing well, but yesterday, a big chunk of that was on him. From a captain, you're held to a higher standard and whatever. I don't think.
But that's a bad performance.
I think it was an example of him being scapegoated.
But it is for me. It is in the bigger context of this is why everything's wrong, because he had a bad game. Even when Bruno plays in the normal 10, you can have a bad game and a stinker, and you say that was shit. You were rubbish. You gave the ball away so much. But he's being scapegoated in the sense of our manager has decided to take our best player, who's been our best player for the last 5 years, and put him in central midfield with a crap partner, and that's never gonna work. For me, that makes Bruno a target number. I think that makes Bruno Fernandes target number one, because you've taken away all his strengths and hyper shown all of his weaknesses. That's what you've done as a manager now.
But then he can still be a leader, and he wasn't a leader yesterday.
Absolutely, that bit's not the scapegoat bit for me. Because that means if I was saying he's scapegoat because of that, I would say, come on, he missed the penalty, man. Get off his back. Oh, come on, he gave the ball away a couple of times. I'm directing it more at the manager is making him, or should I say, will make him a scapegoat over this whole thing, and we're going to act like Bruno Fernandes now is an awful player. He's crap. Which, listen, some people think that. Some people think that already, to be fair. Yeah. But I do get what you're saying. It's not a scapegoat to suggest that he shouldn't be criticised for his crap performance yesterday. I was that interview afterwards, what are you doing? That makes you look awful. So I 100% agree with that. Ant says, lack balance. I'm sure Ruben didn't want that, sorry. Super Arch says, the same way he yanked Xerxes against Newcastle is the same way he should have pulled Bruno from that horror show. Dennis says, flex. Bruno is a waste of time. Super Arch says, until Bruno leaves, we are not seeing top four ever.
See, that's a scapegoat thing. Like that one there, that's going like, basically we're never going to get top four with Bruno when we have got top four with Bruno in the past. You know what I mean? Like that's what I mean, that's the scapegoating, but there are other parts of it that aren't.
Yeah, and this is what I'm saying. It gets
messy
now, and we can't really decipher what's going. And this is what I just look to the manager. You've done this. I'll be honest. Like, we can talk about individuals and play. You've made one of our best players now one of the biggest villains. You've chosen this.
Well, I don't know. Bruno's been a villain before.
But even more so now. More so now. Like you've made it. All right, you've made him less effective, and that's on you.
Yes,
And we're not scoring for it, so the decision has not paid off. Joe Fleming says that Amorim said Kobe is competing with Bruno to get in a team. So now, because he's captain plus he convinced him to stay, he can't play Kobe when he should. Exactly. It's showing a mad bias, that is. Victor says, after this window, changing the system is going to be difficult. Now we have 6 number 10s on the books. Bruno, Mainu, and Boomer, Cunha, Mount, and Ahmad. We are cooked. Back to square one. Owen Stylevisor says, is this the start of the end, lads?
To be honest, to answer that question, I don't know if it's the start of the end, because you can make a really good argument that the end started.
Already started.
Yeah, it never began. You know what I mean? Really.
Yeah. Ant says Ineos were clear this is their system, and this is their system, and Amorim was recruited to fit it. So the system won't change, Amorim or not. So players will have to change. But I don't know. I don't think they're saying the new version of Man United must play 5 at the back.
No, I think if they, for instance, went and got, look, they might go and get an Oliver Glasner because it's easier. The transitions there is easier. Yeah. They could do that, But then I think if they went and sort of manager, like, so I mentioned it a couple of chats back, like, we got so many 10s. A lot of them can play not in a 10. Brian Mbeumo played right wing a lot for Brentford. You know what I mean? Yeah. Ahmad plays, his natural position is on the wing. He's sort of a converted 10, isn't he? Mateus Cunha can play left wing. Like, we're not, some of our 10s that we've got aren't necessarily specific 10s.
There's just 10s in this.
Yeah.
Dennis says Bruno, Dallo, and Amorim need to go. So who will the next coach be after the clear out? Amorim needs to walk. And Terence says Bindier on corners was pure anxiety every single time. Other than that, he actually did all right. Again, but he's just in that specific area. And that is the thing. When teams, look at us and go, get them there. Look at them. They cannot deal with this in midfield. They cannot deal if you put it on top of the keeper's head from corners. They will give you something. And that's just what happens. Fulham exploited that, and especially the one where he came out, knew he screwed up and tried running back in. He's lost. Every single one. He was just fortunate that there wasn't a Fulham player on the end of it, because he was in no man's land every single corner.
One he just ended up on the floor with
on his knees by the post.
Going like
this. Honestly, and guess what? We'll probably get this Lamens kid. And again, I don't know loads about him. Everyone says he's this, he's that. And I don't know if it's going to be the same problem.
Apparently he's good at crosses. But then we overcompensate, don't we? So he'll be good at crosses, but he can't save. It takes him 10 minutes to fall down because he's so tall.
Honestly, I ain't saying nothing of like, this Lamens kid's exactly what we need. I've seen this, that he'll come and crane cross. I don't know anymore, mate, because under this manager, in this setup, mate, you know what I mean? Joe M says Ruben Amorim won't last. Just have to sit through this delusion period of hoping it clicks. Thinking Bruno Fernandes and Mount can play in the 2 in the Prem is a joke. Why did we leave the Bruno decision to Ruben Amorim? Isn't this the point of having experts now? And Michael says, we need to make a change ASAP. Can't take too long like we did with Eric Ten Hag. And Dwight York too says, Amorim refuses to play any other formation, hence he doesn't possess the ability to adapt to changes in-game. Hence why his in-game management and his justification interviews are trash. We all know. And Fitness Balance says, Bruno's not the problem. The system is. I like Amorim, but he must try 4-3-3. He's just not going to do it. Sanchez says, it's a never-ending cycle, Flex. What Man United are going to do, change the manager again. Then that manager will ask the board to sign his players to play his system. United don't need system managers. So loads of people.
I think in fairness to that last one, I do think there has been a bit of a fail-safe with the players that we have signed in the last couple of windows, is that they're not necessarily married to certain systems. You know, I know obviously, look, we've bought players that can play in Ruben Amorim's system and you think fit in it. But if there was a change of system, I mean, Patrick Dorgu was signed. He plays left wing back, but he's played as a left full back and a right back for Lecce, right? If anything, he's been converted into a left wing back. Like I mentioned, Brian Mbeumo and Mateus Cunha last season for their respective clubs played all across the front line and played in different systems. Brian Mbeumo played for Thomas Frank last year, who, as we said earlier on in this show, adapts his formation depending on the players he's got at his disposal, who he's playing against, whether he's home or away. So Brian Mbeumo played as a right winger, as a striker, as actually less of a 10, more often than not, sometimes in a 2 with Wissa at Brentford. So I wouldn't be too worried about that. Then a new manager will come in and say, I need to get. A new manager will come in and say, I want to get some of my players, because that's what managers do. But I don't think it's like, we wouldn't be able to switch to a 4-3-3. We wouldn't be able to switch to a 4-2-3-1. I think the players in that squad would be able to switch to that. It's just, like I said, for me, and this has always been my thing, I think football's moving away from this like overarching philosophy style of football now. I think that, you see it with kind of Pep at Man City, isn't it? That football's in the last 18 months, couple of years, it started to reinvent itself again, hasn't it? The idea of having this, one way to play, that's it, is now being beaten out by teams that are adaptable, that are teams that can play hybrid football, or, that can go a bit more direct. Our best chance created yesterday was, ironically enough, from Altay Bayindir. Just a long kick up the front. Good touch from Cunha, should probably score. Like, football's changed. Like, this idea now that you've got to have all the ball, and and if you got the ball, then you suffocate the teams. Not really. Not really. You don't have to do that. It's about, for me, it's about winning. Again, the currency of football is winning football matches, and you win football matches by going, right, how is the best way to defeat my opponent that I'm playing today? Am I so good that it doesn't matter? I don't even have to think about them, and I can just play however I want, and we're better. Some teams can do that, not many. We're definitely not one of them. But it's just how it doesn't matter about the opponent. We can just play better. That's it. We're still at the phase where we should have to adapt to our players that we've got, who we're playing up against. Is it home or away? There's no shame in that. Sir Alex Ferguson used to do it all the time, every single game. You know, be like, nah, this game I probably need to do this. Oh, this game, I need to do that. You know, or this game, they've got a really good player. Go man mark him. Do that for this game. You know, that just happened all the time. So I don't know. I look at us, like I said earlier on, and to me, it feels the same. We're playing Grimsby. I'm horrified of that Grimsby game. I really am, because they're going into
There's
that,
nothing we can take out of it.
Knowing that's where we're gonna have to get our first win of the season.
League Two, bro,
is horrifying. And then Burnley at home. Look, Burnley won at the weekend, and you know, all bets are off. All bets are off for that game.
Yeah.
I have no
Back
idea
five,
what to expect.
stink it out. Man United can't break you down. Like,
I have no.
100%.
I did the match with KG yesterday, and I was saying the last 20 minutes, I was back into it again, going, right, well, the performance is gone. We're back into scumbaggery, shithouse. Can we just nick a win and smash and grab and get the next one? Because all of that sort of positive sentiment of playing and good performances is gone. Is gone. So pressure's on. We're now asking Ruben Amorim in all comps to do something that he's not really done at United, going, you have to win the next 2 games. You've got to win the next 2 games. I don't know.
And even if you do, and even if he does, yeah, even if he does win the next 2 games, like, yeah, go and do what you really actually are meant to do. Like, you're not going to get any ratings for doing it, but just make sure you do it.
Well, and also coming up
after the break, exactly, it's Chelsea and City.
Yeah, exactly. And I know, obviously, look, City lost against Spurs at the weekend.
Probably do it right in those type of games.
But I mean, yeah, like you said, like next 4. This is what, you know what? Actually, looking at these next 4 games, he's fucked. Let's be honest. Pardon my language earlier in the morning, but he is, because you go right. Grimsby in the second round of the Carabao Cup. All right, let's say we should go through. You never know. Burnley at home. You know, we should win, but who knows? Then City away, Chelsea at home. And the reality is, there could be a situation where in the league anyway, we only win one of those. And if we only win one of those, then we haven't started the season where we've won 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 1 game out of the first 5. He's screwed. He's screwed.
And then you're talking that is a continuation of last season.
He's got to do something now in the first 5 games of the Premier League that he hasn't done. That he hasn't done, which is win at least a couple of games back to back. Like, the pressure is so on. That's why I think for people that are going like, oh, this is too early to be doing like this. Well, actually, it's not, because you look forward to the next 3 games in the Prem. Oh my God!
And it's already started. And we said all the way through the summer, before the fixtures came out, and when they did, big stretch, that in order to restore some level of faith and calm, you have to start well. You have to start well. Now, we understand that, you know, there's a lot of there's some tough teams in there that you have to face, so you can lose. But you have to show something against the teams you should be taking care of. That's Fulham, failed. That's okay. Whoever it is in the League Cup, which we now know is Grimsby, you take care of that. It's Burnley. If we're just doing about who you know, who was there, and then you go, because it's open season against City and Chelsea. You know, I'm not going to be at that Chelsea game as well. Chelsea. So then you're like, if you don't get anything out of those 2, because it's back-to-back losses, let's say, who is it after that? Like Brighton and stuff? Is it? Who is it? Is it hard?
After City, we've got Brentford away, and then Sunderland at home, and then Liverpool away.
Fucking hell, mate.
And we're back, and you know what it is, though? But we're now already back into that territory where we're looking at any match in the Prem going, I have no idea if we can win that.
Yeah, you don't know.
None.
You don't know. Fulham somewhere where we go and win all the time. We've just broken that record.
Yeah.
We won there the last 8 times. No manager's ever won at one place 9 times in a row. We're like, yeah, guess what? We did it.
Like you said, I even if the next 2 games positive, like, right, let's take the Carabao Cup one out of it, but like, just focus on the Prem. Just focus on the Prem.
Yeah.
Right. We say we beat Burnley at home, which we should. I know obviously last year we got a result against City and you never know, but then I'm looking towards that game after that Chelsea game going, there's a reality. We could only be on like a couple of points by that point.
And then, I was literally saying, you want to stay with the pack. You want to stay with the pack for as long as possible. Like I said in the brochure, I was like, I know we're obviously going to be nowhere near the title, but what you want, especially at the start when it's all congested, Stay in the pack for as long. Don't start tailing off from the first 4 games because you just lost. So already you're sort of like 4 points off the top, or you're not with the pack. Because when you start doing that, well, what is it? So 6 points, and we got 1. So you're already 5 points behind already. You can maybe a few people are playing each other. So when we play Burnley, I think Arsenal got City, and there's a couple of big. There's some times where you can kind of just win this game, stay afloat, just keep yourself floating. All right, you get a draw away at City. We'll take that. It's not the worst. Can you get a big win at home? Can you beat Chelsea? Can you do something? But can you raise something? But it just doesn't feel like it's going to happen. It really, really doesn't. And again, this is irrespective of the individuals. Like, we can do the Bruno show. Dallo, I don't know what bro, man thought he was Cafu, bro. Try and take that ball on some half-turn spin. Just set the ball back to who you're facing, or take a touch, win a foul. Do everything but that. You're basically inside the right back position. You're in field. It's a dangerous area, and you think you're Cafu. You think you can spin on that ball and open out and play. Like, do you know what I'm saying? And he loses the ball, and then we just don't recover from that. And then, of course, knock-on effect. You got, I think it's Muniz or Jimenez on Delit at the front post that goes past, and then it's criminal what Bruno does. And it just summed us up. And at no point after the first 15, 20 minutes were we in control of that game, especially second half. And then you get the club 11 hours ago, our first goal of the new season with the hands up emoji. Like, what? I just seen that now. What are we doing? The club did this the other day. And this is another thing I bookmarked because it pissed me off. This is before we even played for them. People may talk, but Casemiro says he's content at United. What are we doing? What are we doing? Nothing against Casemiro, by the way. Like, we all know past it, and shouldn't be playing this, that, whatever that he does. It's a good pro, whatever for Casemiro. But we all know it's not the future. Why are we doing pieces discussing rumors with Casemiro? People talk a lot, say he should leave. I haven't even read the quotes. I just seen that same thing. People may talk, but Casemiro says he's content at United with the love struck emoji. What are we doing?
Yeah, it was just ridiculous. I mean, looking at like the stats of the game as well from yesterday, if I get this up on the screen, I mean, you see it like the game. Draws a fair result. You can't argue with it. Draws a fair result. If you're going to go by XG or whatever, like
you probably didn't deserve to lose. That's fine.
First half is when you go, look, you should have been 1-0 up, had the better chances, blah blah blah. Second half, they're better than us. Look at it. They're better than us. They deserved to get pretty much their goal. They had more shots, more touches in the opposition box, more big chances. It's a fair result. First half, we were better, deserved to at least a goal. Second half, they were better. And you go and it goes fair result. So we didn't. It's not like tell you what, we were really, really unlucky. Actually, on the face of it,
no, we weren't unlucky.
1-1's fair.
A draw is a fair result. Yeah,
that's when you go back to the hypothetical stuff. Oh wow, if this had happened, if that had happened, if this had happened, actually, everything that happened, and that was exactly what was deserved. Justice was probably done. We weren't good enough to beat Fulham.
And to be real, to stare it down the barrel and just be honest. Let's be honest. Like someone said there, even with 2 central midfielders, is this going to work? Is that it's feeling like he ain't going to be able to improve this with this system, the way he plays it. Because Glasner plays this same system. Crystal Palace look excellent. Yeah. I mean, let's not act like this system can't be effective. Ruben was effective with this system in Sporting.
Glasner's doing it despite losing his players all the time, right? Oliver Glasner loses Michael Elise, still manages to win an FA Cup. Now he's losing Eberechi Eze, and he's still managing to get results. You know what I mean?
Still Gay might leave.
And they're not signing anyone, by the way.
No. They're doing that with Will Hughes playing football, bro.
He's doing it. And with him as well, it's not a fluke. I mean, he's at Eintracht Frankfurt. He's winning Europa League, mate, with Frankfurt. He's going to Palace. He's winning an FA Cup. He's a top, and he's a good communicator as well. It's not as if for him it's a fluke. And with how it's going at Palace, maybe Man United might actually have to try something, because it might be one of those ones where he just goes, you know what, I've had a bit of enough here. You know what I mean? I'm not being backed, or we just lost Eze, and he didn't look very happy with how that whole thing sort of played out.
Oh, he's fuming.
Because his thing was like, oh, we should have got people earlier on in the window. We knew we were going to lose him. Why didn't we do that kind of thing?
And he's valid in saying that. He's also seen his HR team or whatever. Sorry, the office team, whatever, PR team, not be able to flip in, sort out their emails and do what they have to do and rob them of a flipping place in the Europa League.
Because they basically just didn't even think they were going to get in Europe. So they decided not to file the paperwork.
So if anyone's got something to be flipping upset about, it's him.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Exactly. And also, actually, this should also serve as, I think we need to, as the fan base also, we need to have a really hard look at ourselves, because when Erik ten Hag looked like he was going to leave just before we won the FA Cup, we were linked with Thomas Frank. I remember that at the time. Yeah. And we turned our nose up at that idea from such a snobbery point of view. Thomas from Brentford, Flex. From Brentford. He used to be a championship manager with Brentford. Thomas Frank at big Manchester United. Well, I don't know about that. Oh, well, it's just gross, disgusting. We need to stop doing that with everyone, because we do it with anyone that comes from what we perceive to be a small club or a small team. Like it was like it with Mateta last season. Mateta, Thomas Frank, no. We'd have done the same with Enzo Maresca, wouldn't we? Maresca with Leicester in the Championship. It couldn't do it at Man United. It couldn't do it at Man United. And I tell you what, regardless of who is next, or if it is going to be Ruben that succeeds, any player, any coach, we have to be open to everything. That's what we need to be. We need to be open to everything, because big people have come here and failed. Promising people have come here and failed. Shit people have come here and failed. So you could make the argument that anyone's going to fail, but by that metric, surely anyone's worth a chance. by that metric too, there's nobody too good or too bad for Manchester United at this situation. Really, is there? We shouldn't turn our nose up at anyone.
No, we shouldn't. Just breaking news, last few minutes, Bukayo Saka going to miss up to 4 weeks. Well, it's a good thing. Arsenal have everything they need and no excuses and all this depth and all these players. And it's a good thing we've already played them. Yeah, who cares? Obviously wishing the best, by the way. But I'm just saying, like, whatever. I nothing's gonna
and it's shit being like this again, isn't it?
That's what I'm saying straight away, bro.
It's so shit. Like the season ended last year, and you could feel it, and especially with us. Look, we do this every day. We live it, we breathe it. We come and we talk to you guys. We all talk together, share our thoughts. We're all Man United fans. And the season ended, and it did feel like there was this like lift the moment the season ended of like, you know what? At least it's done now. At least your season's over. Like, we don't have to think about this again, kind of thing. You know what I mean? At least there was this kind of like just pressure off. It's like, oh, thank God it's over. And there was this feeling of kind of optimism of going, all right, let's see what we can do this summer. And we got some positive signings. It's like, all right. And on tour, it was actually a half decent tour by our recent standards, wasn't it? It was like, actually, you know what? That's not too bad. That's
and the manager's telling us himself, I can see they're more this, they're more that. We're more confident with that than that. He's telling us this shit.
And we were like, oh, yes, that's good. And then to have this thing of like, nah, that wasn't true.
The same. And then you start going, like, six, you start going Europe, you start going, mate, let's just have it right. Top 10 if we're lucky. Top half if we're lucky. At this, top half if you're lucky. Toby says, told y'all to calm last week. Everyone went full KG. AK says, Fleck, Benjamin Sesko won't go 007 because he'll get a penalty goal against some lower league team in the Energy Drink Cup. Love for the love. Ray says, is the heart surgery removing the heart, aka Bruno? AK says, Southgate as interim for the rest of the season. Super Arch says top four was last season. Top four was last seen in 22-23 season. Rashi, big year. Eminem says was actually positive game week 1, but I have flipped so hard, expecting individual brilliance to get us goals. I'd give time, but this is exactly like last season. And says that this system can work, but a midfield 2 requires 2 top class midfielders, specialists in their positions. Why hasn't that been our focus? In the window. Ray says, score goals. It's simple. This is how you beat teams. Negative goal difference in 2 games. Again, The answer, my friends, is not blowing in the wind. And Bernadre, yeah, Bernadre, yeah. Says as long as we delude ourselves that Bruno is our best player, we will miss the opportunity to change our fortunes. Favoritism, stubbornness, sacked. And Tab says, I've said this many times in my fan cams. The fact that he brought on 2 centre backs to chase a game while Kobbie is withering his career away is the final straw. And actually, on the Sesko thing, big up to you, Tabrez. Fair point. You know, I knew he wasn't going to start him. I just knew he wasn't. There are other sides to it where you have to say, you know, is he ready? What's going on? You have to make sure he's ready and stuff. He did bring up, you know, he's looking for a house. He's not settled yet. You know, he wants to do everything. This kid wants to play. So it's Ruben saying, you know, I'm holding him back. But then when he does get on, like you said, he came on really early, coming on the 50th minute yesterday, along with Dallo. And you go, I didn't even realize the kid was on the pitch.
No, I just kind of...
No one played through him. No one played for him. No one played with him. Bro, we stopped putting the ball in the box. Bro, and Dorgu's second half, I don't know what he was doing. Like, so many fouls and stupid bits of decisions. Went to take a long throw. Can't even throw it that far. So I don't know what he was doing. But just on the Sesko thing, obviously, listen, he's new. We're trying to work out. He's had no preseason games with us, so it is going to take a while. You start him at Grimsby, hopefully, you know what I mean. Then hopefully
he has to start against Burnley. If he doesn't start against Burnley, then what's the point at this point?
Owen.
If Benjamin Sesko doesn't start against Burnley, then I start going like, did you even want him? Because like, there's no excuse not to start him at that point. I get it. The Arsenal one, I went back and forth with KG. I was like, look, I'd have started him, just throw him in, see what happens. All right, he didn't. Cool, fair enough. I get it. Yesterday, like you said, the more I thought about it, I was kind of like with you. He'll try and justify it of, well, look, we actually played right against Arsenal and all this kind of stuff.
Exactly what we did.
Cool. And that's what he did. And then when you bring him on into a team that's, like you said, second half, Fulham were better than us. I'm not sure anyone could have come on to turn the tide. He was kind of thrown to the wolves a little bit there. And you go, you know, and like you said, by that point, the team's playing shit as well. So, you know, they're not playing to him. If he does, like you said, he's got to start, I think, against Burnley. Grimsby, and then got to start against Burnley. But even now, Paul Merson settings are worried for him, Jeff, because we're already. I'm doing it there, aren't I? I suppose with this idea of it coming, I'm like, all right, we'll be better now. No, I don't know. Is this going to come in suddenly? We're going to be great again? I don't think so. So, flex. We're 2 games into this fucking season.
And it's this, bro.
Me and KG kept saying on the match feeds, we like last week against Arsenal, when the team news came out and the meltdown was happening, me and KG were like, we're not as match fit as we thought. We're like, we're not ready to deal with this. We're not ready to deal with it. We're not match fit. And we felt a bit better yesterday. We felt a bit more match fit. I don't know how match fit I was. You know, I'm not sure. You know, when they say, you know, 2 haven't got the legs for it. I don't know if I've got the legs for it, mate. I'm not sure.
Do you have the stomach for this? Because you can. Because what is abundantly clear is there is nobody, and if there is, I don't agree with them. That should be like, I don't like is the pushback of typical United fans turning on the manager because of this, and you don't want to see a rebuild. Get out of here with that. That I don't agree with. I can see positives if you want to find some positives and be like, it just needs a bit more time. But I don't think anybody has the right, when we're this shit,
to be losing games Amorim, and then be like, it's fine.
Nobody has the right to tell the other side, you know, you're being too quick on this. It's people like you that are the problem. You're toxic. I don't agree with telling anybody that they have to believe in this manager because you're all wrong. You don't get to say that, bro. He's got more games than points. More games than points.
He's got Neil Warnock win percentage. Like,
you
know, like.
So no, I'm not having that.
You're not, and you're right. Because we spoke about this yesterday, KJ and myself, going, I don't think we're at the position now to be saying to people that if they go like, I don't think this manager can do it, he needs to go.
Yeah.
Or I don't think we're in the right to be like, well, you're not a fan because you think that. Fuck that, man. You're allowed to think what you want. You can say what you can think what you want. You can say what you want. And it's look, if this was Ruben Amorim's second game, I'd go, you know what, fair enough. Second game, maybe that's a bit early, but it's not. You know, he's
It's
had like,
not.
was it 24 in the Prem? There's a
Yeah.
lot. And like I said yesterday, we didn't even lose, but it feels like a loss because it's last season's feeling all over again.
Yeah.
It's, oh my God, Groundhog Day's back
Yeah,
again.
and this was actually a draw.
Well, it's Groundhog Day again.
Yeah,
It really was.
it is that. And you know what? I'll be honest. I'm not doing the blinking thing. I said when Ruben was on his way in, I'm not doing the whole, you're going to find out finally. I didn't do any of that. I said, I need to see when he gets here because this Premier League thing is different. Then you look at last year, I stand by. A lot of people didn't say this. I stand by that I think you need to give him the chance to get his players and, you know, improve and, you know, give him a chance. I understand people who said you should have sacked him in the summer because it was fine. And in the end, if he gets sacked early this year, those people will get to say, we told you, you should have. I'm not really interested in that. I'm just told, I can't. I hate it. I hate the in, the out, the this, that, and the other. So what I will say is that he's running out of games, and very, very soon, if he doesn't pick up, the door will be there in front of him.
It's stuff like this, though. This is when, like, so PB Big Up says, Arsenal drew at Craven Cottage in their last visit there. It's not really the end of the world. Got to start being more realistic and stop underestimating teams like Fulham thinking a win is for granted. PB, we won our last 8 times at Craven Cottage. You know, we won our last, but was anyone saying about us competing for a title this season? No. You can pick out individual results and say, but this team did this there, but this team, who gives a shit what other teams did? What did we do? What did we do yesterday? We didn't win.
And Arsenal could afford to draw there because they win 85% of their other games.
They still finished in the top 4 last season.
Yeah.
They're still in the Champions League. They're expected to challenge for the Premier League title this season. We're not, and yet we won the last 8 times there at Craven Cottage. We can make weird, strong, straw arm arguments going, well, this team didn't do this, and this team didn't do that, and this team didn't do that. What are we doing? The answer is we're doing nothing. We're doing nothing again. Yeah. We're doing nothing.
We've come to the end of the show, and like someone just said, someone just said it there. Where is it? It made me laugh.
Or transfer news.
Yeah, so it's about transfer news. Yeah, there you go. Shout out Grandpa 70. We've only been speaking about the future of the manager, maybe his transfer.
Le Mans, to be fair, that probably we're going to get Here We Go very soon with that one.
I think we'll get Here We Go soon with that. And let's be honest, this is the final week now of the window, isn't it? Yes, 25th. Yeah. So these next 7 days, raise some cash. And what happens? I don't even feel as like, go and get this 6 or we're finished. I don't even feel like that anymore. Like we do need one, by the way. We do. But I don't feel as if that 6 can come in and be revolutionary. And then because it's the same thing we always do. Go get a striker. Go get this. Please give him this. It's still shit.
Do you know what it might be? It might be one of those ones like, all right, so we're going to get Le Mans. Like I said, raise the cash. Then see who's in charge come January. Maybe they get a bit of a war kitty. You know what I mean? See what the situation is come January. It might be some players for someone else. It might be some players for Ruben because he's turned it around. Maybe it's a wait and see approach till January, really. Because that's where we're at the moment.
Fans are angry because we know we are having big chances. That first half was for the taking, but stupidest this time. Dallo mistakes always cost us and Bruno. Michael says we always look like we'll concede from a set piece as well. Yeah, we do. 100%. Yeah. There you go, guys. Smash the like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. We got to 484 likes, over 202k people watching live actually. So let's make that 500 on the way out, peeps. Red carpet today, of course. That'll be interesting. I know it will be. Yeah. Head over to Football Flex after this video going up there. Yeah, you can see the feeling. There you go, people. Smash a like. We're out of here.
Got 2 matches, though.
2 matches this week, though. A chance to get a bit of confidence up, get a bit of a run, maybe. Who knows? But we already can't take it. We're playing against League 2 Grimsby. There's nothing we can take from that game. If we win, and if we lose, Jesus, he may as well just walk.
Oh my God!
Honestly, yeah. So League 2. This is League 2, bro. You can't it's sackable.
It will be 2.
We're out of it, peeps.